Okay, let's go.
Have you ever wondered if humans can change the weather? Like, I mean, actually change the weather. Not in theory, but in reality. It's a question people have wondered about for decades. And the deeper you look, the stranger the truth becomes. In the 1940s, scientists were already stepping into the sky itself. They dropped dry ice into clouds to force snow, experimented with storm formation, and began testing ideas that would eventually move into patents, classified military projects, and even the battlefield itself. What started as small experiments quickly became something much bigger and much harder to ignore. And now in our time, the conversation has evolved into words like geoengineering and climate engineering. Yet behind all that science are the real questions. Who controls the weather? Who should? And what happens when we cross that line? Tonight, we're peeling back the layers on the forgotten history of weather modification, the experiments, the controversies, and the possibilities that challenge everything we think we know about nature. You're watching Shadow Reactions, man. Let's step into the unknown.
Sending a cloud back to the sky. Raw.
Yeah, I don't want to fall asleep. I don't.
Okay, you see that circle glow? What do you think that is? I have my own ideas, but I'm gonna keep them to myself right now. But tell me what you think that is in the comment section.
Southeast Queensland's been hit with nearly 500,000 lightning strikes in a week after more destructive wet weather overnight. Energy crews this morning are racing to reconnect 150 homes. Massive hail yesterday saw 9 people taken to hospital. They all had minor injuries. Thunderstorms overnight impacted Ipswich, Brisbane and Logan, with gusts over 100 k's an hour recorded at Emerald. Baraga near Bundaberg has seen some of the heaviest rainfall, recording 104 mils in just 24 hours alone.
Pump the brakes, because did y'all hear about Dubai revealing how much their weather machine costs? Hey, pay attention.
Invested more than $20 million in research to start a process called cloud seeding. The UAE performs around 1,000 hours of cloud seeding a year, and it's all controlled by this building in the National Center of Meteorology in Abu Dhabi, where they track the whole process. We met with a cloud seeding expert to explain how the seeding process works.
We wait the forecast. When we have good, chance for a cloud, we send the aircraft to that location.
There you have it. They just told us how they manipulate the weather. I'm just saying, the technology is right there. We both just seen it. Now let's use our imagination.
So what you're seeing in this video is a video of government officials in China in the act of cloud seeding, which is when they shoot silver iodide into the atmosphere into clouds, because what it does is it forms ice crystals which then melt and turn into rain. So they're doing this because they've been suffering from severe droughts all over China, especially along the Yangtze River, which is one of the biggest rivers that flows through China that's been drying up all over the place, which is going to impact, millions and millions and millions of human beings. So in an effort to combat this massive amount of drought that they've been suffering from for a while, they're trying to seed clouds. Now, cloud seeding has been something that's been in place around the world since like the 1940s, but recently China's got one of the biggest cloud seeding programs on the earth. According to China's State Council, the country is committed to bringing about 5.5 million square kilometers of its land under its weather modification program by 2025. And largely one of the biggest processes that they're going to be doing with that is cloud seeding. Now, cloud seeding is referred to as geoengineering, which is basically just saying like manipulating the earth. And currently there's no conventions or formal agreements that say you can't. So some people think this could be used militarily eventually. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Today, yeah, it's being used all over the world. It's been weaponized. You know a little bit more about it now. Tell me what you think in the comments.
Most rainmaking techniques used today originated back in 1946, when scientists discovered that by dropping particles of a chemical called silver iodide into cloud tops, they could trigger rainfall. Dr. Brunjis is in Mali, West Africa, to test out a new technique he's devised with colleagues at the National Center for Atmospheric Research. It involves the use of pyrotechnic flares to deliver a special seeding material into the base of a cloud.
These are the so-called hygroscopic flares. They consist of salts inside. And as we burn them, the smoke produces the particles, the salt particles, that will then be taken up into the cloud and participate in the rain formation.
Once released into the cloud's updraft, each one of the hygroscopic salt particles becomes a seed around which a single water droplet can form. These droplets collide with each other and grow, eventually becoming heavy enough to fall out of the cloud as rain.
Operation Popeye is thought to be the first known successful application of weather control technology in warfare. The first flight of the operation took off on March 20th, 1967. A total of 2,602 flights were made in 5 monsoon seasons, from March to November. The 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron executed the cloud seeding procedure using the slogan, "Make mud, not war." Within their squadron, the operation was codenamed Motor Pool. 3 Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft and 2 McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom aircraft, based at Udon Thani Royal Thai Air Force Base, were altered and fitted with silver iodide ejectors. The 5 cloud seeding jets had the standard Southeast Asia camouflage colors and markings, but no unit identifiers, likely because the operation was top secret. The squadron flew 2 rainmaking operations per day, while also generating report data, which they presented to their superiors. The flights were officially logged in as standard weather reconnaissance flights. The Viet Cong would not know where the rain was coming from. The initial range of operations for Popeye was the eastern half of the Laotian Panhandle. 4 months after the first official flight, the area of intervention was increased toward North Vietnam. In September 1967, the A Shau Valley in South Vietnam was also added to the mix. As bomb operations over North Vietnam expanded, that area was eliminated from the list on April 1st, 1968. Likewise, the southern region to North Vietnam became part of the operational site for only a couple of months. In 1972, northeastern Cambodia was added to the operational zone. A total of 47,409 units of cloud seed cartridges were expended. The operation's details were so secret that the soldiers who got selected to participate were usually kept in the dark until the last minute. Everyone had their own theory about what Operation Popeye was really about. Soldier Howard Kibble said, quote, "I had fleeting thoughts of flying over China, working for the CIA, you name it. But I signed a statement and found out that I was going to make rain. Geez, I thought they were kidding." ethical and environmental concerns for Operation Popeye's downfall. An article in the Washington Post in 1971 by reporter Jack Anderson revealed that the U.S. was engaged in clandestine weather weaponization in Vietnam. The information was corroborated by the Pentagon Papers leak released by Daniel Ellsberg. The following year, in July of 1972, journalist Seymour Hersh reported in the New York Times about Operation Popeye using the headline, "Rainmaking is used as a weapon by the U.S." The article describes how some officials opposed the radical idea and even doubted its effectiveness due to the unknown long-term consequences, stating, quote, "Despite years of experiments with rainmaking in the U.S. and elsewhere, scientists are not sure they understand its long-term effect on the ecology of a region." A few days after the story's publication, the entire program was officially ended, and all cloud seeding missions stopped. Silver iodide, a material used in cloud seeding condensation, is known to be toxic to aquatic life. So when used in the long term...
Right there. Silver iodide is known to be toxic to aquatic life. I don't know if anyone's seen in the news, not lately, but over the past couple years, you see them talking about fish washing up on shore, species of this dying and species of that. Not the whole species dying out, but whole schools of fish washing up. Whole, just a whole lot of fish washing up on shore. If they're doing this in certain reasons, even if it's just hitting rivers, that river runoff, the accumulation could be really, really serious. I mean, I'm not this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying they're doing this today. I don't know if they're doing this today in the United States, but if they are, that could be one explanation.
Precipitation from seeded clouds could harm the environment. The news caught the eye of Democratic Senator Claiborne Pell, who demanded to have the specifications of Operation Popeye officially declassified and released to the public. As one of the leaders of the operation, Lieutenant Harry Edward Soyster was asked to testify in front of the Committee on Foreign Relations. He told them everything he knew. The cost of Operation Popeye was about $3.6 million per year, which included the operation and maintenance of the modified jets, purchase of seeding materials, and pay for the people involved in the project. The timing of all these public announcements did not work out well for the Department of Defense. In 1972, the environmental boom in America was burgeoning. In addition, the Nixon administration was already struggling with the beginning stages of the infamous Watergate scandal. When the public, especially environmental activists, found out that America had secretly been playing God and altering the weather in Vietnam, they were outraged. The operations were dubbed the Watergate of weather warfare. Operation Popeye was officially terminated on July 5th, 1972. In 1977, the U.S. joined the Environmental Modification Convention Treaty, or ENMOD, an international treaty which formally banned weather modification for malicious purposes. The agreement banned causing earthquakes and tsunamis, steering hurricanes, or tampering with the ionosphere. It also prohibited any kind of severe damage to the environment.
So there we have it. Go follow Florida Skies. They got some good stuff there. Man, let me tell you something. It's very surprising to hear such documentaries are being done when most of this stuff is considered conspiracy theory. I mean, it's very cool, but it seems like it's very dangerous for the environment, especially dangerous and toxic, as the narrator said, for aquatic sea animals. Yeah, I mean, you can only wonder what it does to people. Let's watch the next video.
125,000 acres of nothing. They even had to move 5 cemeteries, because the noise they were planning on making would wake the dead. Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And, as it turns out, the cleanest.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
And it doesn't stop there. In partnership with the CIA in 1968, Gordon MacDonald, a top presidential science advisor, wrote a chapter in a book called Unless Peace Comes, A Scientific Forecast of New Weapons. His chapter is called How to Wreck the Environment. In it, he talks about how the weather can be altered to use as a weapon against our enemies. Processes such as cloud seeding, atmospheric heating, and the creation of artificial storms, floods, and droughts. Owning the Weather in 2025 is a document that was produced for the U.S. Air Force in 1996. You can literally buy a copy on Amazon, or you can read it online for free. It explores the possibility of controlling and manipulating the weather for military purposes. However, it's been criticized due to the fact that it could be a violation of international treaties such as EMOD from 1978, which you can read about in the Department of State archives. So while they've technically been restricted from using these technologies as a military weapon, there's nothing stopping them from using them here in the US, which they clearly are. More on that in my next video.
We already know that there was a treaty signed that stops them from using it as weapons. But like she said, there's nothing stopping them from using it here in the United States for good purposes. The one before that video was the solution, I think. I think they figured out how to remove the silver iodide and to just create water vapor in the sky. That's probably what they're doing today. At least more of what they're doing today. I don't know how many of those engines exist. But I mean, it can be a good thing if you can do it safely. It can be a really good thing if you can do it safely. There's loads of places that need rain. Yeah, like Africa, like the UAE, California. Think about the California fires. Yeah. Let's watch the next video.
Yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops, and if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine?
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all, because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
Incredibly interesting, Professor Michio Kaku.
Propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
Think about that kind of communication and think about the opportunity that will provide. It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Lee Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Secretary of State thinks it's a good idea to fill our fields with solar panels at the cost of billions of pounds to the British taxpayer. I hate to break it to him, Mr. Speaker, but the solar panels rely on sunshine. So why is he supporting now a project to block out the sunshine?
The honourable gentleman never ceases to amaze me, and not in a good way, Mr. Speaker. Look, what I would say to him is this, and this is where, you know, they've made their decision. I'm not sure what their position is, which is cheap, clean, homegrown power is the answer for Britain because it gives us energy security, frees us from the petrostates and dictators. We're in favour of it. They're against it. Goodness knows where they are.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that the video we make yesterday was gonna go that viral. But too much people are throw around cloud seeding and actually don't know what cloud seeding is. Cloud seeding is a technique to manipulate clouds with high moisture to generate precipitation rain. Cool? In order to do that, they use substances called silver iodide or dry ice. People know about dry ice, right? But cloud seeding cannot create clouds from scratch. Definition: manipulate clouds with high moisture, meaning a cloud has to be present in order for cloud seeding to occur. You see the cloud here with the high moisture inside? You see my water droplets? You see the plane? Yes, the plane can fly over and drop the silver iodide and dry ice into the cloud that's already there in order for the cloud to create rainfall. They can also use a generator to do it as well. But look over this side. You see how it's so sunny? You see my two little bird them? If there is no clouds with no moisture, they cannot do cloud seeding because you physically need a cloud with moisture. So can cloud seeding cause hurricanes? No! Hurricanes form from thunderstorms, and thunderstorms need more factors in order to form. So now, the last concern. If the storm is already there brewing, can they use cloud seeding? No! And for any of the conspiracy theorists, we are going to try if we said this and that. They tried it before. Project Storm Fury 1962 to 1983, a 20-year research project by the United States government to try to use cloud seeding to manipulate a hurricane. They've tried it, and after the 20-year experiment, you know what they concluded? That hurricanes do not have enough supercooled water in the system for cloud seeding to manipulate it anywhere. Do you know why? Because hurricanes are big areas of warm, low pressure. It does not have enough supercooled water. There you go.
They call him the Rainmaker. Now he's blasting suggestions that his company may be linked to the catastrophic Texas floods.
Cloud seeding
had nothing to do with the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry that caused flooding in Texas.
Augustus Dorico's company specializes in cloud seeding. That's when particles are released into the clouds to try to bring about rainfall during drought conditions. Now, wild conspiracy theories are being spread about the company falsely and without any evidence, claiming it might be linked to the deluge. Cloud seeding is responsible for flooding, goes one typical comment. Republican firebrand Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posted, "We must end the dangerous and deadly practice of weather modification." Dorico rejects the idea that the Texas floods may be connected to his rainmaking operations.
I feel horribly for the people of Texas that were affected, but not because Rainmaker had anything to do with it, not because cloud seeding had anything to do with that.
Is cloud seeding capable of creating these kinds of floods?
Okay, we saw before in one of the videos it says that cloud seeding can have adverse effects on the environment, and on these is one of the possible environments that people talk about. And these are one of the possible effects that people talk about. Flooding. But to say to blame just him, probably not. Um, it would have to be that he was causing it to rain so much upwind of this area, and every time he does it, the rain just ends up in this town. And yeah, I don't think this guy, but listen to some of the stuff he says in an interview that's coming up.
Tropical Storm Barry precipitated trillions of gallons over Texas. That is about 1 million times larger than what cloud seeding is even capable of. So to give you
Well, a lot of people are really skeptical of weather modification.
And then there's chemtrails or contrails, right?
Have you seen any evidence?
You know about how like birth control's in all water now? gets recycled, it gets put back in the water supply, and then dudes end up drinking it too.
So because I watch the sky and I'm always looking up instead of...
Okay, just now he said something that was very interesting. It seems like it's nefarious. The chemtrails and the contrails supposedly include chemicals that they want to disperse into the clouds. Like the guy said before, for cloud seeding to work, you have to have a cloud. But what we notice is that there has to be a way for them to create clouds. Obviously, we saw the one with the NASA one, but how many of that do we have? Before I was saying that chemtrails and contrails were the same as cloud seeding, but what I came to realize even before this past video, is that in the CIA video, when they were launching off the silver iodide into the car, it looked into the clouds. It looked like flares. It didn't look like streams of smoke. And even now, we come to find out that chemtrails and contrails are different from cloud seeding. So what I'm wondering is, what is the real purpose of chemtrails and contrails? If you got the answer, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, guys. Let me know if you like this type of content. Like, I do like the scary stuff. But I also like the conspiracy stuff, man. And shedding some light on what conspiracies are, are fact. And just shed a light on it, and just so we can understand it better. Yeah. So let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and let's watch the rest of this video here.
So because I watch the sky and I'm always looking up instead of down at my phone like the rest of the world, I'm always trying to pay attention to the weather patterns, the cloud patterns, and all that stuff. So I watch this all the time, and right here, I don't know if you can see it, but I see like vertical lines in the pattern right here and right here only, nowhere else. And it's kind of funny how this observatory in Hawaii is completely blocked. It's going to be completely blocked by clouds. None of these clouds are moving. When you put this in motion, they're all not moving. That's not normal, people. There's no jet stream happening. Like, you can put this in motion and look. There's nothing happening here, people. Not moving. That's not normal, people. There's no jet stream happening. Like, you can put this in motion and look. There's nothing happening here, people. In the pattern right here and right here only, nowhere else. And it's kind of funny how this observatory in Hawaii is completely blocked. It's going to be completely blocked by clouds. None of these clouds are moving. When you put this in motion, they're all not moving. That's not normal, people. There's no jet stream happening. Like, you can put this in motion and look. There's nothing happening here, people.
He's got this thing in a 2-hour time loop, and the clouds have not moved.
Increase of cloud with no storm motion. This is not normal, people. I mean, you could even stop this in the pattern right here and right here only, nowhere else. And it's kind of funny how this observatory in Hawaii is completely blocked. It's going to be completely blocked by clouds. None of these clouds are moving. When you put this in motion, they're all not moving. That's not normal, people. There's no jet stream happening. Like, you can put this in motion and look. There's nothing happening here, people. there is no motion. It's just like a continuous increase of cloud with no storm motion. This is not normal, people. I mean, you could even stop this and put this in. That's in a 2-hour loop. You can put this into a 6-hour loop. Look, this is 6 hours. Watch how it just increases.
Quick question. Do y'all see a face in the cloud here? Like a smile down. Do y'all see a face? Let me know if you see a face. A very, very huge face too. Like the whole like expanse of the cloud. Like with even the eyeball in the middle here poking out. Which is kinda weird. Let me know if y'all see that.
See them vertical lines? See them vertical lines? I've never seen those before here. And it's only there and right here.
And notice that the clouds only increase in density. Like they're making the cloud right there. It only increases in density, but the clouds don't move coverage over to California. It's not like you're seeing it move. The pieces of the cloud that they're increasing in densities around don't move.
Only here.
And the huge cloud over the observatory hasn't moved at all.
And it's not pixelation because it's nowhere else. It's only on each side of the United States right now, people, where you're seeing this. You're only seeing these vertical lines. I don't know if you can really see them like I can, but there are vertical lines here. There are vertical lines here. All on the West Coast, all on the East Coast. Nowhere else.
It kind of also looks like a hand. Like somebody's going like this. Like somebody's going like this. Like, you know, like. Well, I guess it's my opposite, but anyway, like their hand is going like this to the United States. Like the United States is going, you know. Trying to see how I could get my thumb. Never mind. Anyway, it just looks like their hand is like a hand is, you know, being placed over the western seaboard there.
Nowhere else. And you have to be at this height to see them. You go out anymore, they start to get real faint right here. Excuse me, they're not anywhere else on the entire map. Anywhere. Nowhere. Just right on the West Coast and right on the East Coast. Here, I'll zoom back in. This is weird. There they are. See them? All the way up here. And all right here. And none of these clouds are moving. They just keep increasing.
He's got it on a 6-hour loop right now, and in 6 hours, those cloud formations only increased in density and have not moved. Right now, you can see it's 11:30 a.m. on that ticker. Like, once again, let me know what you think about that in the comments. Like and subscribe, guys.
I think they're running HAARP right now to increase the cloud cover. Honestly, that would be my honest opinion. Because I watch this thing every single day. I pull this up to look at the weather. And I've never not once seen lines on just on the West Coast and nowhere else on the map. Like nowhere. And they're there. You can see the lines. Okay? The storms are all generating.
Okay. First of all, this coin shadowed reactions for this one. All right, so if you ever seen the HAARP um, um, research center in Alaska, I'm guessing the things they use are in lines. They're in rows and columns. It's almost like you have a sprinkler, and the sprinkler is or not a sprinkler. You have it's in a grid form. Like you have one of those grid papers when you're doing graphs, and they're plotted. They're all in lines, so it's almost like they're causing it to happen by maybe they're projecting it. Maybe they're they're from the I don't know. I'm gonna just use what I have here from this. Like say they're in a row like this, and they're projecting it from up in Alaska, south of them. So the clouds they create wouldn't move. They would all, in the span of time they're creating them using maybe lasers like we learned earlier. They're literally just making them denser. Which is kind of interesting. I wonder why the observatory has so much dense coverage over it. Maybe they create some type of occluded front near Hawaii. Maybe they have to create some type of occluded front or fronts to keep the clouds from moving. I wonder what's really going on here. You're watching Shadow Reactions, where we bring light to what's left in the dark.
From this area, storms are like generating, and they're not moving. They're not moving out. They're staying. It's like you can watch the cloud cover over 6 hours, and it just stays and accumulates. That's it. Something's weird. So I bet they're running HAARP really hardcore right now to cover the skies, because they don't want you looking up. Something's up.
This U.S. Air Force HC-130J of the Hurricane Hunters out of Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi, was tasked to go measure the most powerful hurricane of this season, Hurricane Melissa, which is currently barreling toward Jamaica and Cuba. They measured winds at 175 knots, gusting to 215. But things were pretty calm inside the eye wall.
Hurricanes. I get it.
How do they form is brilliant.
How they form? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if people know that each of these low pressure systems that build up in the South Atlantic, they each get named alphabetically. Alternating boy name, girl name. So that's how you know how deep into the hurricane season you are.
Right.
The storm season, by how far down the alphabet you've gone.
Wow.
And so, do you think people know how they're formed?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, I need Earth.
There
it goes.
Oh, wow, look at that. Any planet you want is here.
Yeah, any of the 8 planets, get over it. Okay. So, we all know Earth rotates.
Right.
And on the equator, they actually rotate faster than anybody else. Their speed through space is faster.
Makes sense.
Because they make a day's trip like everybody else does, but they've gone 25,000 miles.
Okay.
And anyone else has gone less. All right. That's fact number 1. Fact number 2, let's throw a low pressure system in the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a puffy cloud. Which way are you going to go?
You're going to push me north.
Yeah, so all the system will push you north towards that low pressure system.
Right.
And and another puffy cloud north of the low pressure system. Which way are you going to go?
I'm going to go south.
You're going to go south. So the low pressure system attracts all clouds.
Right. Oh, wow.
Calling all clouds. So there they go. Now, That if that kept up, they would just sort of meet in the middle.
Right.
But that's
Hey,
not what
what's up?
happens.
How you doing?
That's not what happens because everybody has sideways motion.
Right.
And I'm a cloud south of that low pressure system, and I go towards it, but wait a minute, I have speed that will overtake it.
Right.
Because I'm going sideways faster than it is.
Okay.
It'll overtake it to the right.
Right.
Now you're above, and you're headed towards it, you're going to fall behind it to the right.
Oh.
And that creates a general circulation of all weather around a low pressure system. And that's what we call a storm. And so, Chuck, it probably makes sense that if you repeat this in the southern hemisphere, everything is going to move in the opposite direction. So storms in the southern hemisphere actually rotate clockwise. And that would mean a storm on the equator wouldn't know which way to rotate.
You got a storm-free zone?
It's a storm-free zone.
Nice.
There you go. So, Chuck, the fact that things circulate in this way with clouds from below overtaking and from above falling behind, that was studied by a guy named Coriolis, and it's called the Coriolis force.
Ah.
So it's not really a force, but it looks like there's a force pushing things, and that's what happens when you're on rotating surfaces. And not only that, how do you get a cloud in the first place? You need moist air that's unstable, which means it'll rise.
Right.
So if you have moist, rising air, it's colder up there than down here.
Right.
You know that, have you ever been in an airplane and look at the temperature outside the plane?
Not very pleasant.
No, it's like 40 below zero.
Right.
Because all the sunlight passes through our transparent atmosphere, hits the ground, and the ground heats the air.
Right.
The sun doesn't heat the atmosphere, except in some very special layers up there. The sun heats the ground heats the air.
So the radiation of heat back is where the energy's coming from.
Correct. That's what we feel, because that becomes back in infrared. That's how that works.
Cool.
Comes in as visible light, gets re-radiated as infrared.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens? So the ground absorbs it and it re-radiates it later in the day. So the hottest time of day is not at peak heating.
No.
It's a little later when the ground gives it back, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
The hottest month of the year is not June, which has the first day of summer, the longest day of the year, that has the most ground heat. No, because
August.
there's a delay. The oceans pick up this energy.
Right.
Okay, this heat, this thermal energy, and it gives it off later. Later. So wait, when is hurricane season?
August.
It's August, September.
Right.
Okay, because Earth is beginning to cool down, but you have this heat source.
That's still,
and it's a moisture source.
Right.
And it's unstable.
Wow.
So the air rises, makes clouds, low pressure system gathers, you have a circulating system, thus is born a hurricane.
Hurricane. Boom.
Boom, boom.
Look at that.
Now, hurricanes, the lower the low pressure system is,
right,
the more clouds it attracted, the more devastating the hurricane is, the faster it'll turn everything.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that's that. Now, as it they can sometimes make a left turn into the Caribbean,
right,
as it so devastatingly does for the island countries there, or it can go up the coast.
Right.
All right. Now, if it goes over land, doesn't have the heat from the ocean, and so generally they lose their punch.
Less heat,
as they
less
come
moisture.
Exactly. They generally lose their punch. But if it stays along the coast, it can stay potent. And they don't move very fast. I mean, along Earth's surface, 10 miles, 20 miles an hour tops.
Right.
Okay. That means if you do the math for how long it would take you to go up the coast, it can take weeks. Guaranteeing
But
that
I'm a hurricane. I got no place to be. I got time, baby.
Someplace along this coast, it's gonna landfall during high tide. Somebody's gonna get a high tide hurricane.
Right.
And that's bad. Because high tide can be bad enough, but a high tide that would be during full moon or during new moon. That's what I mean by high tide. Every day has a high tide. I'm talking about big high tide, right? Full moon, new moon. The hurricane hits you during one of those, you get extra tidal, you get storm surge as well as the tide surge.
Wow.
And so that can, particularly in the era of global warming where ocean levels are slowly creeping up, you can end up going over gates and jetties and levees or whatever is holding back the water. You can breach that. It just takes an inch to breach it, and
that's it.
That's it.
Flooded the city.
You flood the city.
Wow.
As long as the hurricane is there, you flood the city.
Get your buckets out.
And that's what happened in Hurricane Sandy here in New York. I lost electricity downtown.
Yeah.
Because they went over the sidewall.
That's all it was. Yeah. Yeah. And the storm surge was not even a foot.
But it just has to be whatever it is above. Above, that's all you needed above the limit. Yeah, you got it. Whole underground parking lots, cars were bobbing out of the parking lot. So here we are in hurricane season. That's what's going on.
There you go. Everything you wanted to know about hurricanes and more right there. So if you did,
haven't y'all noticed that hurricane season is extending longer? It seems to be like it's.
When is hurricane season?
August?
It's August and September.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's like I didn't know hurricane season when I was younger, pushed into December, but it seems like a lot longer than it used to be. What are your thoughts about that?
You know the Sahara Desert is actually responsible for every hurricane that slams into America? When the hot and dry air from the Sahara Desert clashes with the cooler and wetter air from the Sahel region, it creates unstable atmospheric ripples, which are kind of like waves in the atmosphere. These ripples move west, off the coast of Africa into the Atlantic Ocean. And once they hit the warm ocean water, the ocean acts like fuel where warm water makes moist air rise. Thunderstorms grow, and the little ripple starts spinning faster and faster. And if conditions are right, that ripple becomes a tropical storm and then a hurricane. That's why about 60% of all major Atlantic hurricanes and 85% of the strongest category 3 to 5 storms start as these African waves. But the Sahara also blasts out huge plumes of hot, dry, and dusty air, called the Saharan air layer. This dry air can choke hurricanes, weaken their storms, and stop many hurricanes from ever reaching the northeastern coast of the U.S.
Another segment of the content community in Manchester is rising again. As you can see, this is the original segment where all the houses are completely submerged as of today. So now we're going over to the new segment where water is appearing within the past 24 hours. This is directly in front of the Pick a Pepper factory, directly in front of the sports club, the Kirkvine Sports Club.
I believe high tide happens at nighttime, and this is what probably we was talking about, how the hurricane hit towards the night in Jamaica, and basically would bring in a lot of water from the ocean, and yeah, it was a sad thing to see, man, but it was great to see everybody come together. It was a great thing to see people come together. If you know, see if I can find some places where you could send money and donate to Jamaica, because they still need help rebuilding. They still need help. So yeah, donate clothes. You can even send barrels down there of clothing, supplies. Anything they possibly would need. But yeah. Hurricanes are dangerous, but I don't think, just like the guy said earlier, cloud seeding doesn't have much to do with it. It doesn't seem so. Just because I asked ChatGPT about this, because I was wondering if the cloud seeding in Abu Dhabi and in the UAE would carry the clouds over Africa, and and create the thunderstorms and then bring it out to but they don't last that long. When you cloud seed, it's aimed to make it heavy and create precipitation. The precipitation happens right away. What happened in Jamaica is a tragedy, but cloud seeding is not how they create hurricanes. Now, are there other ways to create hurricanes? I'm not sure. I'm gonna look into that, because I am, like I said, the amount of how long hurricane season has last. I'm 38, so maybe it has always been like this, but in the last 10 or so years, I've been noticing like hurricanes are really, they're doing a lot. They're doing more than they used to. So yeah.
Coming up from, I don't know if it's because they're diverting the water from the original segment over to here, but I didn't see any connection from that water body to this water body, unless there are underground pathways for the water to flow. As you can see, the waterfall that's going over here is so fast, it's rapid. So I guess that gives you an idea of how fast the water is rising, right? And eventually it will fill up the segment that's close to Kendall Road. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens to that stretch if it reached to the level of the road.
I tell you a story. My family are from the Caribbean. They had a hurricane. I think it's George back in like the 80s or 70s or something like that. Probably was like probably even further back, maybe the 60s, 70s. Gilbert. And they called they it was named Hurricane Gilbert. My uncle during the hurricane, we the place where we lived, the type of roofs we had, they called, not we live, not I, my mother is from. They have what they call zinc roofs. It's like zinc. It's a slab of zinc or slabs of zinc on top of the roof. Um, Bolted down, all that stuff tied down, bolted down, all of that like secured, right? My uncle though, but it's a hurricane, so all that stuff is coming off. Um, just like with these images, I didn't know they take off like you know constructed roofs and stuff. Um, but yeah, my uncle he sat on the roof during the storm, so the zinc pin, the zinc roof would stay on. That was always like a funny story in my family. Like he went up there and he sat out on the roof during Hurricane Gilbert or something. I forget the name. It's like Gilbert or it's a funny name like that. It was a long time ago, man. But yeah. This is it, man. Hurricanes are tragedies, man. Hurricanes are really tragedies. Wow. And who knew hurricanes formed from from the air, the 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 air that comes off of Africa, interacting with the ocean air. I didn't even know that. I didn't know I didn't know that. But the Sahara Desert's air, the hot pluming air, that's kind of what keeps um, hurricanes out there so long. But that could be a good thing and a bad thing. It can divert it until it um, lessens, or it can give it more time to build. So, man, like I said, this has been Shadow Reactions. Like and subscribe. Make sure you comment in the comment section. And thanks for watching, man. find your eyes even a little, smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts. This conversation is bigger than any one video, and I want to know what you think. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we're just getting started. The deeper we go, the more truth starts to reveal itself. This is Shadow Reactions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, yeah. I had a little fun. I wonder how I could look like forever. Niggas testing ideas that would eventually move into patents. Patents, man! Classified military projects, and even the battlefield. We're going to start. 2, 1, action. Who controls the weather? This isn't about historical. Ever wondered if we could change the weather? 3, 2,